believe there are less than 3 months to go until Prince Caspian is out. It's really finally just starting to hit me that wow, after everything we've come through, that's it. We're gonna see it, and it's finally starting to really sink in, like what that means. And I'm really glad that I've lasted. I made it all the way to video number 40 so far. And when I first started, I was kind of thinking, maybe I'll just stop after a few. I'm really glad I made it this far, and it'll be really fun for me to kind of go back after it's over and watch each video and kind of see how I initially felt about things and how I'll change my mind about certain things. Certainly, after I see the movie, I'm kind of surprised that more people haven't made their own Narnia blog. I was kind of hoping that there would be a number of people who made another Narnia video blog on YouTube or wherever. And actually, one person very recently finally has. I subscribed to him, so it's going to be under my subscriptions. If you click Gpuddle, click on my screen name, and then he's in one of the guys I've subscribed to, and so you can watch some of his videos. And so someone finally has, and I was kind of hoping there'd be more by now. And I'm really hoping for Dawn Treader there'll be a handful. But come on, there's still 3 months to go. Go ahead and if you have a webcam or a video camera or whatever, and you're really passionate about Narnia, go for it. And so I'm really hoping that at least for Dawn Treader, we'll have a handful of people doing this. That would be really awesome. But with 3 months to go, there is a little bit of news here. There's a couple interesting bits. First off, a high-resolution image of Reepicheep. It's the same picture we've seen a couple times, only much clearer, and you get a really good look at his fur here. And yeah, there is some white in the front. This is definitely not as bad. Certainly not as bad as what I saw on set. What I saw on set was a joke. But here you've got a Reepicheep that does have some white in the front. Got some highlights here and there. And obviously, one of my thoughts is, am I just okay with this because I'm so relieved he's not white? What if I'd seen this several months ago? Then what would I think? But I think he looks alright. I still wish it doesn't evoke the Pauline Baines illustration nearly as much. Obviously, you tell the video I was freaking out when I saw the poster. It looked like that Pauline Baines illustration just stepping out of the book. And so he looks alright. At least he's not white. That's kind of my thought. At least he's not white. But thank God for that feather and circlet, because that just says Reepicheep. As soon as you look at it, it's like, okay, that's Reepicheep. So thank God for that. I like the strap going across there. I know that E.C. Smusinden talked about Adamson didn't want dressed creatures in this one. But I think it's good that as much as possible, try to make it, visually communicate that they're not just talking animals, that they're intelligent. And as far as animation, the thing I'm most impressed with here is the feet. Obviously, it's not scientifically correct. If a mouse tried to walk on its hind legs, I don't think it would look like that. But obviously, talking animals do have some physical differences from normal animals, and so they can take some liberties there. But obviously, this isn't scientifically correct. But I think it looks believable, and I can see where he'd be able to jump around and be kind of agile and fight. And so excellent job on the feet. I think that's probably one of the most, I would imagine, one of the most challenging things with designing CG animals is getting them to walk upright and make it look believable, So that's good. So overall, Reepicheep, I'm kind of, I'm not as excited as I was when I saw the poster, but I support Eddie Izzard 100%. And so between the feather and Eddie Izzard, they should do really good with him. I believe this is our first look we have online. Our first look at Vincent Grass in costume as Doctor Cornelius, and what can I say? He obviously has the whole, he's got a beard, he's got the cloak, got the glasses thing, the whole Doctor Cornelius thing, and I just wish they kind of gone for something more original. This is just one picture, I understand, but I guess the Pauline Baines illustrations kind of engraved in my mind is just that style was just there's something a little bit different about it. And it wasn't just a guy with a beard, something a little bit different about it. And so I kind of wish they tried to do something more original with it. But, he looks all right. He looks fine. And Ben, in a recent interview with Ben Barnes, he confirmed what we'd suspected for a while, that they've cut the nurse out of the film completely. It's a shame because that's such a moving part of the book, and it's great how it kind of bookends Caspian's story of, at the beginning, Nurse is sent away, and at the end, they're reunited. And that Caspian gains something personally from Aslan restoring Narnia. It's not just oh great, Narnia's back. It personally means something to him when he's reunited with Nurse, and return being a big theme in the story. And so I'm hoping, like I said before, they'll kind of give that role to Doctor Cornelius. That by the way, they did say the reason for it was basically that Caspian's older in the movie than he is in the book, and so they took the nurse out. And it's not a huge change. It's very disappointing, obviously, because that just seems to go very well with the theme of the story, the nurse being sent away and then coming back at the end. So I'm hoping they'll kind of give that role to Dr. Cornelius. And like I've said before, I hope that if the night raid really is to rescue Cornelius, I'm hoping that when Caspian and Cornelius are reunited, that they'll kind of have an emotional moment there, when they're reunited, just because to kind of try to mirror that moment in the book. Between where Nurse and Caspian are reunited. So that's what I'm hoping for. There's also an interview with Douglas Gresham. You can read it at NarniaFans.com. And the most interesting part I thought was when he's asked about Susan fighting, which I'm obviously so completely against. If you watch these videos, you know that. And Gresham's asked about Susan fighting, and he says, "I somehow just can't imagine her sitting down in the grass and watching the boys have a battle against the bad guys." And my first thought was, Horse and His Boy is dedicated to you. I'm like, what do you mean you can't see it? Like, it's in the Horse and His Boy. That's exactly what happens. It has nothing to do with Susan being a girl. It has nothing to do with battles are ugly when women fight. Battles are ugly when Susan fights. It's just totally out of her character. Susan's a thinker. She's the practical one. That's just not what she's not the person who takes that kind of action. That's just not who she is. Lucy does fight at the Battle of Anvard in Horse and His Boy, which makes sense for her character that she would do that. But Susan doesn't make sense at all. She's the thinker. She's the planner. Whatever. They can find, but in movies, like if you don't have a sword, you're useless. Basically, is I think how people view it. And like they can find other ways for Susan to be useful. I think this is the total wrong way to do it. But I was very disappointed to see that statement from Gresham, C.S. Lewis's stepson. And obviously, it's ironic. The Horse and His Boy is dedicated to Douglas Gresham. So that was kind of disappointing. There's a lot of new toy pictures. I've collected a lot of toys, and including all the Narnia ones. And there's a lot of new pictures, and I guess I just wanted to mention it because it's kind of our first official look at Trufflehunter, not the full revelation, but it's kind of our first look at Trufflehunter. And what can you say? He looks like a badger on hind legs, and a little shorter than Trumpkin, it would appear. I just noticed, and to give you a sense of scale. But Trufflehunter is going to be voiced by Ken Stott, so looking forward to see how he turns out. And as for the toys, which I'm looking forward to getting, these ones, they look alright. They certainly don't look like the absolute crap that Hasbro gave us. These guys, the first wardrobe toys that came out, total crap. Like, I couldn't stand these. They have almost no articulation. They're kind of cheaply made. They don't really look like the actors, It's just, this was junk. Whereas the Disney Store exclusives, these guys right here, very nice. I was very happy with these guys. They've got lots of articulation. They're pretty detailed. They, kind of pretty much look like the actors, and these toys are very nice. These are about as good as the Lord of the Rings toys were. I was very happy with these. So I'm hoping that the Disney Store will have some more exclusive Prince Narnia toys. They did for Wardrobe. They did for both Pirates sequels. So I think they probably will for Prince Caspian. And I'm especially looking forward to getting a Mira as action figure and a couple Telmarine soldiers maybe. That'll be because I love the design of the Telmarine army. And so that's about it for the news. I'm in the middle of rereading Prince Caspian right now, and it's been about it's over a year, I think, since I read it, and nice to be back with my friend. And a couple little things, obviously a lot of things that every time I go through the Chronicles, I notice a lot of little things, big and small. For instance, for some reason, I always imagine that the scene where some of them can see Aslan and some of them can't, I always imagine that being in daytime. I don't know why. When it's in the book, it's nighttime. Which actually makes a lot more sense. And actually, visually, that might explain why some of them, you could kind of show why some of them couldn't see him. That would make more sense. Also, Mentius, who is going to be a character in the movie, I always thought was a made-up character for the movie. In fact, at the end of Chapter 6, Lewis mentions Mentius as being one of the Fauns. So technically, not a new character. That's all we find out about him in the book is that it's Mentius. So a lot of things about Prince Caspian I'm noticing. And also, when they get lost in the woods, when they're trying to find, when they're all trying to find Caspian. This time I actually read the book, and I also had a map of Narnia in my other hand, and I could really understand what the problem was and why why they were getting lost and everything. So I really understand that whole scene much better than I ever did. So Prince Caspian, like all the Chronicles, a very rewarding reread. So I would encourage you to reread Prince Caspian before the movie comes out. I'm going to finish it tonight or tomorrow. And so less than 3 months to go, which is hard to believe, but it's true. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the book I'm reading now come to life.